Draymond Green is finally opening up about the conversation everyone wanted to hear. During a recent trip with LeBron James, he made his pitch to bring him to Golden State. Now, he's revealing how LeBron reacted, and it could say a lot about what's coming next. Let me break it down. So here's how it went down. Draymond Green and LeBron James went on a golf trip to Puerto Rico together. Draymond Green and LeBron James recently went on a golf trip to Puerto Rico. And while they were together, Green pitched James on joining the Golden State Warriors. Not a quick conversation, not a passing comment on the 9th hole. A real pitch. Green broke the whole thing down himself on his own podcast, The Draymond Green Show. He didn't dodge the question. He didn't play coy about it either. Speaking on his Draymond Green Show podcast, Green admitted to trying to convince James that they should play together next season, saying he'd be remiss if he didn't take the opportunity to throw his pitch in there. Here's the thing about Draymond. He's not a guy who lets a moment like that slide. Think about it. Two future Hall of Famers sharing a week together, both free agents, both with decisions to make. Green basically said there was no version of that trip where he doesn't bring it up. I'd be crazy if we're together for X amount of days and at no point am I like, yo, we need to chop it up. What the hell going on? What we doing? Green said, of course I did that, and of course the pitch was crazy. Crazy. That's the word Draymond used. Not solid, not reasonable, crazy. And when you're talking about recruiting the most accomplished player of his generation to your team at 41 years old, in what might be his final season, you don't throw out a boring pitch, you throw out everything. Now, what was actually in it? Draymond didn't lay out a slide deck for the cameras, but he gave us a clue about the weight of it. With the things I shared in it, it's definitely gonna make the brain work a little bit. He said, brain work, not he'll laugh it off, not he'll shrug. Brain work, meaning whatever Green said, it stuck. It's sitting with LeBron right now. And that's really the headline here. This wasn't small talk between two guys with a decade and a half of finals battles behind them. This was Draymond Green in the middle of his own free agency, using every ounce of his relationship with LeBron to make a case for a Golden State jersey. So what was LeBron's response? Here's where it gets interesting, because Draymond didn't get a yes. He didn't get a no either. What he got was something in between. And by his own account, that in-between reaction is exactly what makes him think the pitch worked. Does it change anything? Does it make anything happen? I don't know. I hope so. Green said on the podcast, that's not a rejection. If LeBron had shut it down immediately, Draymond wouldn't be sitting on a podcast weeks later, still wondering out loud whether it changes anything. Then Green went a step further, giving fans the clearest signal yet about how seriously LeBron might be taking it. I don't think there's a decision that's been made, but say if there was, it'll make you think twice about it. Read that again. Green is saying if LeBron already had his mind made up on some other team, this conversation was strong enough to put a second thought in there. That's the response. Not a handshake, not a commitment. A seed planted in the head of a guy who's about to make one of the biggest decisions of his career. And remember, this isn't some random teammate trying his luck. This is Draymond Green, a 4-time champion. Someone who has never worn another jersey in his NBA life, sitting across from LeBron James, another 4-time champion, and essentially saying, let's do one more run together for real this time. Because here's what makes this pitch land different than any recruiting call from an executive or an agent. Green and James spent the better part of a decade as rivals. James and his Cavaliers faced off against Curry and Green's Warriors in 4 consecutive NBA Finals, from 2015 to 2018. 4 straight finals. That's not two guys who barely know each other trying to make small talk work into a pitch. That's two men who spent years studying each other, competing against each other, respecting each other from across the biggest stage in the sport. So when Draymond leans over during a golf trip and says, "What are we doing?" it's loaded with all of that history. It's not "come play for my team." It's "we've spent a decade trying to beat each other. Imagine what we could do on the same side." That's the pitch, that's the moment. And LeBron's answer, or lack of a clean one, is exactly why this story has legs. Nobody shut the door. Nobody's talking like this is dead. And that on its own is the whole reason the NBA world hasn't stopped talking about it. Since Draymond opened his mouth on that podcast, to understand why Draymond even had the opening to make this pitch, you have to rewind a couple of weeks to 2 decisions that landed almost back to back and set this entire situation in motion. First, Draymond Green opted out of his own contract. On June 29, Charania reported that Green declined the player option in his contract for next season with an eye toward creating flexibility for the Warriors to pursue James in free agency and a trade for Washington Wizards big man Anthony Davis. That's a big deal on its own. Green had a $27.7 million player option that he declined, which had many speculating that James was coming to the Bay. Think about what that means. Draymond had guaranteed money sitting right there. He walked away from it, not because he wanted more money elsewhere, but because it gave the front office room to maneuver. That's a guy putting his own contract on the table to clear a path for a superstar. It's about as loud a signal as a player can send without saying a word. And then, one day later, the second domino fell. One day later, LeBron's agent, Rich Paul, told Charania that James informed the Los Angeles Lakers he intended to leave the organization in free agency and play elsewhere next season. So within 24 hours, you had Draymond clearing Golden State's books, and LeBron telling the team he's spent his entire recent career with that he's ready to walk. That's not a coincidence in the eyes of anyone paying attention around the league. Golden State instantly stood out as a potential landing spot for James because of his relationship with Green and the allure of playing alongside a fellow future Hall of Famer, an all-time great in Stephen Curry. Here's where the Warriors' plan got a little more complicated. Golden State wasn't just hoping LeBron would show up on a max deal and call it a day. They had a bigger domino they wanted to fall too: Anthony Davis. Golden State once hoped a trade for Anthony Davis would sweeten the deal, reuniting him with James. The idea being, give LeBron his old Lakers championship partner back, wrapped in a Warriors jersey, and make the pitch impossible to refuse. It didn't work out that way. However, Mark J. Spears later reported that the Wizards had no interest in trading Davis, throwing a wrench into the Warriors' overall plans. Washington wasn't budging. Washington has since made clear it will not move Davis. So the Warriors are leaning on Curry and Green alone to make their case. That's a real shift. The front office's grand plan, pair LeBron with his old championship co-star, collapsed. So it fell on the players, not executives, not trade packages, just the relationships. Curry and Green using their own history with James to try to close what a trade couldn't. And that's exactly why Draymond's pitch carries so much weight right now. It's not one piece of a layered recruiting pitch anymore, with Davis off the table. It's become one of the main pieces. Now, here's a detail that a lot of people missed at first. This wasn't the first meeting. Curry had already sat down with LeBron separately weeks before the golf trip. Curry already held a meeting with James in June. One insider described the momentum shifting in real time. Pairing him with Stephen Curry is going to be something that the Warriors are going to pursue over the next few weeks. It seemed very doubtful. It seemed low percentage. Now it's kind of questionable. Now there's going to be some legs to this. NBA insider Brett Siegel said at the time. So you had Curry's meeting first. Then the organization itself sat down with LeBron. Just last week, the Warriors organization also met with James to discuss the possibility of him joining the team. And then Green's golf trip came right after that, positioned as basically the last piece of the full-court press. After meeting with the organization and Steph Curry, Draymond Green is hoping to be the final one to persuade James. 3 separate conversations: the front office, the franchise player, and now the locker room leader. That's not a random hangout that happened to turn into shop talk. That's a coordinated recruiting sequence, whether the Warriors want to frame it that way publicly or not. The Warriors have explored nearly every possible avenue in their pursuit of James. From Curry meeting with him to organizational discussions, and now Green's reported meeting, Golden State has made its interest unmistakably clear. And insiders around the league picked up on exactly what Green was doing, well before he ever confirmed it himself on his podcast. They're really close friends, and I'm sure Draymond is doing everything he can to recruit LeBron James to the Warriors. NBA insider Shams Charania said on Sirius XM NBA radio, "I think that is 100%. What is going on here, Draymond? To my knowledge, is fully committed to going back to Golden State." So when Draymond finally addressed it on his own show, he wasn't breaking new information exactly. He was confirming what the league had already suspected. That in itself says something. The recruitment wasn't a secret. It was happening in plain sight, through a contract decision, through back-to-back meetings, through a golf trip that everybody in league circles already knew wasn't just a golf trip. Here's where things get interesting, because Draymond didn't just talk about the pitch itself. He also addressed the reaction to the trip being public in the first place, and his response tells you a lot about how normal this all felt to him, even while the rest of the league treated it like a bombshell. When Draymond got asked directly about hanging out with LeBron, he pushed back on the idea that it was some huge headline. He pointed out that the two of them spending time together isn't rare. And so I think us hanging out or us kicking it together, us golfing together, whatever it is, I don't think it's really that newsworthy because it's not like, oh my God, they've never hung out before and now all of a sudden free agency is going on and they're hanging out. Like, I don't think that is as relevant as if, say, I was going to hang out with Draymond's a free agent. He's going to hang out with Victor Wembanyama. I think that'd be more relevant just because it's not a common occurrence. That's Draymond being Draymond, pushing back on the framing before diving right back into confirming that, yes, the pitch happened, and yes, it was real. However, this one is not quite that. It's actually the complete opposite. It's pretty common, very common. He even brought up how the story broke in the first place and how it felt watching the news land while he was mid-flight. I saw that. I was on an airplane. I was like, come on, man. But I am a firm believer in get your money. How you get your money, how people get their money, that's how you get your money. That's Draymond acknowledging that reporters have a job to do, even if he wasn't thrilled about the timing of the reveal. But strip away the media commentary, and the core of it never wavered. He didn't deny the pitch. He didn't walk it back. He confirmed it, described it as crazy, and made clear that whatever he said to LeBron on that trip was designed to leave a mark. Now, let's talk about why LeBron specifically is worth this level of effort. From a locker room built around Stephen Curry, this is a two-time Finals MVP, a four-time champion, a guy who even at 41 remains one of the most switched-on offensive minds the league has ever had run through it. The latest star to try to pitch James is Draymond Green, who recently revealed his plan to recruit the 22-time All-Star, 22 All-Star selections. There's no recruiting pitch too big for a resume like that. And it's not just about the resume, it's about fit. Look at what Golden State already has on the roster and imagine LeBron slotting into it. Between Curry's ball handling, sharpshooting, and clutchness, James's playmaking and ability to attack the basket, Green's leadership and overall impact, and a strong supporting cast featuring Jimmy Butler III, Kristaps Porzingis, and Brandon Podziemski, the Warriors could be one of the most loaded rosters in the entire league. Add in the fact that James and Curry already have chemistry on the biggest international stage there is. It is also worth noting that fans had the chance to watch. Curry and James played together during the 2024 Summer Olympics. Led by the two future first-ballot Hall of Famers, Team USA posted a perfect 6-0 record and took home the gold medal thanks to Curry's 8 three-pointers and James's double-double in the gold medal game against France. That's the picture Draymond was painting on that golf trip. Not just come win one more ring. It was, you already know what this works like. You've seen it. Now imagine it every single night. And here's another layer that makes the pitch land harder than it would coming from almost anyone else in the league: the agent connection. NBA stars share the same agent, Rich Paul, which further makes LeBron's move to the Warriors potentially possible. Rich Paul isn't some outside voice trying to talk LeBron into a decision. He's already deeply wired into these conversations, which means Draymond's pitch wasn't happening in a vacuum. It was happening inside a circle that already talks business together constantly. So even while Draymond tried to downplay the golf trip publicly as very common, everything else, the agent ties, the roster fit, the timing, right after Curry's own meeting, points to something far more deliberate than two old friends killing time on a fairway. Now here's the part of the story that keeps this from being as simple. LeBron's coming to Golden State headline, because for every reason the Warriors make sense, there's a rival team with its own case, and some insiders think those teams might actually be ahead in this race. Let's start with the man delivering the reports that everyone in this story keeps referencing, Shams Charania. He's been the one tracking these meetings in real time, and even he threw a bit of cold water on the idea that Golden State is the favorite. Speaking about it directly, he made his skepticism clear. During his appearance on the Stephen A. Smith Show, Charania expressed his belief that the Warriors are not among LeBron's top choices, unless they are able to swing a trade for AD. And remember that trade for Anthony Davis already fell through. Washington wasn't interested, so by Charania's own read, Golden State's odds took a hit right along with that failed trade attempt. So who else is in the mix? 3 names keep coming up: Cleveland, Miami, Philadelphia. It appears all reports agree that there are 3 teams that are current frontrunners for James, which are Golden State, the Miami Heat, and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cleveland's case is the one that tugs at the most obvious emotional string. It's home. The Cleveland Cavaliers are another top suitor for James as he mulls, playing a third stint to finish his career with his hometown team. And it's not just sentiment. The roster gives him a real argument. One of James's 4 NBA titles came in Cleveland, and the Cavs will feel close to that goal again after losing in the Eastern Conference Finals a year ago. If James feels that he is the missing piece to another title in Cleveland, that could be where he ends up next season. Think about that storyline for a second. LeBron, in what could be the final year of his career, going back to the team and the city where his legend really started, to try to finish it with one more championship at home. That's a pitch Draymond Green simply can't compete with on sentiment alone, no matter how crazy his golf course speech was. Then there's the question of whether Golden State even has the best on-court case, separate from all the emotional stuff. Golden State didn't have a great year. The 41-year-old James essentially has his pick of the litter, though, and if his main goal is to win a championship in what could be his final NBA season, it is fair to question if the Warriors offer him the best opportunity to do so after they missed the playoffs with a 37-45 record last season. That's a real number to sit with. 37-45 missed the playoffs entirely. So while the star power on paper, Curry, Green, James sounds like a super team, the roster coming off of that kind of season is a legitimate question mark for a guy chasing one more ring in what might be his last go-around. Even Curry, when asked directly about all this, wasn't exactly campaigning hard in public. He kept it composed, almost hands-off, when he spoke to a Bay Area reporter about the swirling rumors. Speaking with NBC Sports Bay Area's Monte Poole, Curry said, "It's funny because I know we're getting that question a lot. LeBron is going to make the decision that he wants, and he deserves the space and patience to make it. That's a notably different tone than Draymond's, where Green went out and confirmed a crazy pitch on his own podcast. Curry sounded like a guy content to let the process play out without adding pressure. Two teammates, two very different approaches to recruiting the same superstar. And that's really the tension sitting underneath this entire situation right now. Golden State has thrown almost everything it has at this. The front office meeting, Curry's sit down, Draymond's golf trip pitch, even a Draymond contract decision that cleared the books specifically for this purpose. But Cleveland's got the hometown pull. Miami and Philadelphia are still lingering as real threats too, even if the specifics of their pitches haven't been made as public. Cleveland, Miami, and Philadelphia are all still very much in play, and James has shown no urgency to rush his decision. No urgency. That's the key phrase. This isn't a guy who's ready to snap into a decision the moment somebody makes a great pitch on a golf course. LeBron's taking his time, weighing hometown nostalgia against roster fit, against a friendship with Draymond and Curry that goes back through 4 finals matchups. So where does this actually leave us? Draymond made his pitch. LeBron didn't say no. He also didn't say yes. And everybody around this situation, the insiders, the teammates, even Draymond himself, is left in the exact same spot, waiting. Green was honest about that uncertainty himself more than once. He wasn't out there promising a signing. He was simply saying he'd done his part. What is clear is that Green did exactly what a good teammate and a good friend would do, and now the rest is up to James. That's really the emotional core of this whole story. Draymond Green, in the middle of navigating his own free agency, took time on a personal trip to make a case for his own team. Not because anyone told him to, but because a decade of rivalry and respect with LeBron James made it feel like the only option. He said it himself. He'd have been crazy not to. And it's worth remembering just how much Draymond has already put on the line for this pursuit to even be possible. Walking away from guaranteed money is not a small gesture. It's the clearest way a player can say, without saying it directly, that winning matters more to him right now than his own paycheck. Draymond Green's summer has looked more like a business trip than a vacation. He opted out of his contract in June, a move that freed up cap space for the Warriors to make a run at a big name. That decision is still paying off in ways nobody expected. Meanwhile, the front office hasn't stopped building around the idea that LeBron could still say yes. Golden State didn't just sit on its hands waiting for an answer. It kept reshaping the roster this offseason regardless of what James decides. The Golden State Warriors are indeed in the middle of a busy offseason. They have re-signed Kristaps Porzingis and Al Horford and added Michigan star Yaxel Lindeborg as the 11th pick in this year's draft. That's a front office hedging its bets, building a roster good enough to matter with or without LeBron, while still leaving the door wide open in case he walks through it. And what happens if he does say yes? The picture painted throughout this entire saga is hard to ignore. A LeBron Curry Green Warriors team, even at this stage of James's career, would instantly be one of the most watched, most scrutinized rosters in the league. James still has plenty of time to make a decision, but if he ultimately opts for Golden State and signals that this season will be his last, the Warriors would become must-see TV night after night during the 2026-27 NBA season. Imagine that scene for a second. Two rivals who spent 4 straight finals trying to tear each other apart, suddenly wearing the same jersey in what could be the final chapter of one of the greatest careers the sport has ever seen. That's the version of this story Draymond was selling on that golf course. That's the crazy pitch. But imagine the other version too. LeBron goes home to Cleveland, chasing a second championship with the franchise where it all started, closing the loop on his own legacy in the one place that means the most to him. Or he lands in Miami or Philadelphia, chasing a different kind of finish. Right now, nobody outside of LeBron James actually knows which version we're going to get. What we do know is that Draymond Green put everything he had into that conversation on a golf course in Puerto Rico. He confirmed it. He stood by it. And he left the door open just enough to keep an entire league watching every move LeBron makes from here. The pitch has been made. The ball, as it's been the whole time in this LeBron James free agency, is in his hands. And when he finally decides, it won't just close out this story. It'll open the next chapter of a rivalry-turned friendship that's been building toward this moment since 2015.